Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BASSmint. That's BASSmint. Welcome all bass players from around the world. And from right here in Detroit, we looking at a Detroit bass player just killed it, man. That's one of the best pieces I've heard in the BASSmint in a long time on the bass. Tell us your name, sir.
Brad Russell.
Brad Russell, a
Yes,
Detroit bass player, right?
Yes, sir. Born and raised here.
But you're not living in Detroit now.
No, I live in New York City now. But I grew up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you live in New York and why are you here in Detroit in the basement, bro? What's happening?
Why not?
Yeah, that's what I say.
No, because I love Detroit, and I think I'm real impressed with, first off, I'm glad we have the Facebook and the internet today for positive things like this, where I can connect with people that maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't have been able to connect with in the music community from anywhere in the world. So I got in contact with or Craig Sconey. I may have contacted him first, or he contacted me, but I wanted a shirt, and he said, oh, "Okay, I'll get you a shirt." And then I just started keeping track of everything, and I come back to visit my family and whatnot. But so then I got in touch with Reginald, and I've been watching your videos on YouTube, and I just wanted to reintroduce myself to Detroit, the bass player scene here, since I haven't been here in a while, and I really left right out of high school. So I played a lot, but in high school, so I didn't really get to introduce myself to the local scene here as an adult.
Okay.
Based on the scene, you know.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Now,
Long answer, I know.
You mentioned a couple of people, Reginald Canty. For those who don't know, Reginald Canty is our gracious host here in the basement, and we also have with us here in the basement today
Parker Klein.
Parker Klein, another Detroit bass player. We also have with us
Bruce Agababian.
Agababian. You know, I can say
so well. God, he says it so well.
I can say Agababian now. I got it. I can even spell it now. That's AGA Babian. I can spell it now. We also have in the house with us
Captain Johnson, Reggie cousin.
It's Reggie's cousin. Now, he's not a bass player, but he's a connoisseur of music.
Violinist.
He's a connoisseur of music. Oh, and he had a few strings on his finger, so
Yes, sir.
welcome to the basement again.
Thank you.
We also have in attendance
Mark Rich, how you doing?
Mike Rich. Is, and for those, if you see some of these episodes where we got multiple basses plugged up, that's thanks to Mike Rich for bringing us a 16-channel board. So if we get 16 bass players in here,
We're gonna start the game up.
I want to hear that.
we gonna try it one of these days.
Yeah, we're gonna have
That was part of me. as
Hey,
you
that's
start
bass
to
day.
Realize I want to hear that.
We also have in the house. Hold up a second. Let me let my camera focus.
Hey, James, Form A.
He's a fine bassist as well. I forgot to say, for those who don't know, Mike is also a Detroit bass player, another fine bass player.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we also have none other than,
Gracious host.
Gracious host.
Gracious host.
yeah, like I said, Mr. Reginald Canty. We have to thank him for always having the basement open for any bass players and other musicians as well that want to come and hang out with us. Get anything you want to say, Reg?
Well, I'm doing it because I love it. It loves me back.
Okay.
Very good.
And of course, I'm Big Ive. I know this ain't gonna focus, so so we all here enjoying. We're enjoying a man. That's like a clinic, man. That was like a clinic to me. You just don't get to see all that
Attack the bass.
in the basement that much.
Attack the bass.
So
Face. That's what my group that I play with in New York. It's just me and a drummer. And what I'm going to do at the clinic and other clinics is a two, just a bass and drum thing. And bass in your face is the title of that.
okay, so let's explain to them. So another reason why you're here, besides hanging out with us and your family, is you're doing a clinic. Where are you doing this clinic at?
Yeah, at Motor City Guitar in Waterford. And it's being sponsored by Warwick Basses. And I'm doing a combination of, just like we're doing today, talking about bass and whatever people want to talk about, and also performing my music and making some noise, and just... I find that if I just play first, there's questions afterwards, so I just play and then just answer questions to the music, to what I'm doing.
Okay, well, I got some questions for you already. I had some questions before you started
I'm sure
playing.
you did.
First thing I want to say is when I picked that bass up and played it, it didn't sound as good as it did when you played it for some for some reason. Did you switch basses? Because all that wasn't happening when I had it in my hand. No, I'm just messing with you, but The first question I always like to ask all bass players is, when did you start playing the bass, and why?
This question has been asked before, I can tell. Well, I started when I was 12 in school, in middle school. And I guess why would be because my mother wouldn't let me play the drums because we already had 2 drummers in the family. So she's like, enough with the drums, and she wanted me to play violin. A 12-year-old boy, that wasn't cutting it, violin. So my dad also played upright bass, and we had a K bass, similar to the bass here, in the corner of the basement of my house growing up. So I always was looking at this thing with curiosity. And I was the smallest dude in school, you know, and I picked, when we went into the orchestra, they asked which instrument you want to play. I picked the largest instrument in the room, not knowing that I would have to haul that thing around. So I started on the upright bass first, and but I dug the electric bass too. So I started trying to.
So give me a time, sense of time. Junior high, what year is this?
Yeah, junior high.
It's 1994, or I mean.
No, it would have been in the late 80s.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to get a timeline, see what was happening during this time.
So I was, and I was listening to, my brothers were musicians, my father was a musician, so it was in the family, so I was surrounded by music, so, but I didn't really focus on the bass till junior high school, till I was, like around 12.
Okay, and could you hear, I mean, once you selected the bass, listening to music and everything, could you hear the bass and the popular songs of the day?
Oh, yeah.
Pick it out right out?
Yeah, sometimes, you know what, I always heard I heard the guitar line sometimes more than the bass, so I think that's why I gravitated to play the way that I played.
Just when did you start playing with other people musically?
Oh, well, in school, in the orchestra. I guess that was the first place.
Yeah.
Well, before that with my brothers, at home, and then they would actually take me on gigs, and but this was before I played bass, so I would sing, and I just pretty much was sang a little bit and played a little guitar, but but then I started playing bass in school, and then I studied classical bass. So in school I played a lot of upright bass and did a lot of work with orchestras.
So you know how to read, and stuff like
I learned
that.
how to read, and I studied with Max Janowski from the DSO, and focused on that really heavily in high school. But I always had this, I was also sneaking off listening to the Stanley Clarke records and Earth, Wind and Fire, Verdine White, and all that stuff at the same time, But most of the playing I did in school when I was younger with other people was organized ensembles, like, band, orchestra type stuff.
All right, so after that, then when did you start getting with the hip music, with outside the, formal training of music?
Mostly after high school. When I graduated high school, I went down to Miami to go to music school at the University of Miami, and I started gigging full time in cover bands and playing, whatever was popular at that time.
Mm-hmm. Any significance? Any reason why Miami? Did Miami have a certain feel of bassness there? That was Jocko present? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of that when I went there. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I went. It was because Jocko had went there, and I was like a million other bass players, a huge fan and influenced by his innovations. So I went down there, and it was cool because there was like a lot of different types of music to play. You had a lot of Hispanic, like Cuban music, and you had some good R&B, and you had the players from the schools there that were really great jazz players. So I was able to, play 5-6 nights a week. I was 19, 18 years old, and I was, had my own apartment and was playing bass for a living. And it's 80 degrees and it's February, you know.
Yeah, from Detroit.
I think things could be worse.
Yeah, coming from Detroit, that's awesome, right?
Oh, it was great.
For 80 degrees in Feb.
Yeah. So I kind of cut my teeth, if you will, down there. You know, playing a lot of cover gigs, you know, and then you know, but was working on my own music at the same time, and really starting to check out the cats that I tried to kind of go down the same path musically as, you know.
Well, let's talk about that. Who, besides Jocko Stanley, who may have been some of your influences on the bass guitar? For the bass,
well, yes.
and not just bass players. I mean,
Yeah,
bands
well,
that you listen to.
Yeah, sure. Well, of course, Stanley was my biggest influence, even before I moved to Miami in high school. I mean, I love Stan. My brothers hit me to return to forever, you know. You know, you know, I heard all that, and it was, I couldn't believe it was a bass. I'm like, that's not a bass, you know. And then, you know, but I dug rock too. I loved Van Halen, so Van Halen was a huge influence on me. Eddie Van Halen, his whole thing. I mean, hence the whammy bar on the bass. You know, and you know, I got into all that, and I wanted to do it on the bass because I'm like, well, there's a million guitar players that are doing this. I'll just be another one of those guys. But if I do it on the bass, you know. But at the same time, I always tried to focus on playing bass too, because you do that on gigs, and that's great. The one guy told me once, he goes, "That's great. All we need now is a bass player." So, you know.
And we laughing about this, but bass players just watching this, he dead serious. If you can't play in the pocket, all you got is tricks.
Yeah, no, you gotta.
You might as well just do YouTube videos, man.
Yeah. No, that's true. You know, I mean, I did many gigs where it was. That's it. That's it, and there's one more chord in there, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's all they want, and they want a nice sound and a nice feel, and they're happy. And I enjoy doing that as much as the other stuff. But as far as other, you know, I got into a lot of different types of music. You know, I was really into Al Di Meola, and I was heavily into guitar players because I kind of feel the bass is a guitar. This bass, not the upright, but I feel this is like a bass of the guitar family. So it's a really unique instrument. I mean, you can do the foundation roll, and then you can do, you know, like I was doing before. You know, all the chordal stuff and harmonics, and that's all guitar type stuff. But in a way, I mean, it's got frets. You hold it like a guitar. I mean, so I kind of wanted to explore the guitar side of it too, as well as keeping with the fundamental or foundation type role of the instrument.
So you like that guitar on the bass, kind of.
But I didn't want to listen to. Other than Stanley, I didn't really want to listen to bass players doing that because I thought a lot of them didn't do it very well. So it's kind of the same thing as, you know, jazz player, you know, playing upright. You listen to like Charlie Parker, or you listen to Coltrane or McCoy Tyner for solo ideas. You don't listen to another bass player. And it was kind of the same concept for me with rock guitar. I'm like, well, if I want to learn how to tap, I'm going to listen to Eddie Van Halen or Steve Vai or somebody who you know, plays it with the right inflections, and then just carry that over to the bass, you know, like bends, like the only person I hear do bends that hip is Marcus Miller. Is the only bass player I heard that did bends like that. Every other bass player I heard, they would go, they wouldn't bend up the note, you know, and guitar players do that all the time. It's just a, so in that way I was kind of like, well, it's a no-brainer. You want to play those guitar techniques, you listen to a guitar player.
It makes me curious as why a 4-string then? If you gravitate and you feel the guitar, you feel the bass, and why not the 6-string? Did you pick it up and then put it back down and say, I'm going to do it on 4?
That's as close as I got to a six string. I can't play six string, man. It just confuses
You're
me.
doing more on that four than we doing on six.
I just say, like, just this is my personal opinion.
Right.
I think six string players, there's some guys that are phenomenal, and it's a great instrument. I felt this was still keeping with the tradition of the instrument. So I figured, well, if I'm going to do all this non-traditional stuff, but I still want to. That's to say, the only more traditional I could get is if this was a Fender right now. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's like cats would cut me a little slack. And be
Yeah,
like,
because
okay,
at
but
least it's a four string.
He's still playing four, so he's still playing a real bass. You know.
What made you gravitate to Warwick?
I was playing I don't know if any of you remember the Steinberger bass.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
headless,
absolutely.
a very 80s type instrument, but I dug it because once again I'm a small dude and it was small, but it had a cool sound. I was playing that, but I was catching a lot of heat. Get a real bass, man. Cats are like, what, you couldn't afford? No, the famous one was, man, this cat's so poor he can't afford the rest of his bass. He didn't have a head. But it was a cool instrument, but basically I wanted to, I was like, all right, I got to get with the program here and get a standard instrument with a headstock and a body. And I had moved out to California. My brother lived out there, and the bass player from band Huey Lewis in the News, he was endorsed by Warwick, and he used to come to our gigs, and he liked the way I played. He said, I want you should play one of these Warwicks. So he gave me a 4 thumb bass like this and a 5 thumb bass, and said, you take them and play them as long as you want, and whichever one you want, I'll sell it to you. And he sold me a 4, another one like this.
Oh, what's his name?
Mario Cipollina. He was pretty famous in the rock world. He played with Huey Lewis, and he was doing big, full color page ads and bass player for Warwick back, like in the '90s. And he said, I think you should be playing this kind of a bass. And at first it was a little weird. The necks are long, and I was like kind of wrestling with it a little bit. But I played it on a gig, and I had about 3 musician friends come up and go, dude, buy that bass. That bass sounds great. And so I just kind of listened to other people and went against my instinct was to want to stick with what I was used to, but they said no, and it looks cool. It's got a head on it. It's got a body. It looks like a bass. So I bought it from him for a good price, and it was just a great instrument. I still have it, and what I like about it is it serves both roles for me. I mean, you can get like, that sounds like a bass, right? And then I can, and then I can go that with just turning the pickup selector on, and it's got extended, it's got full 2 octaves plus 2 more frets, so it's got like 28 frets, so I can do, if I want to. So I can use that. Some cats will be like, I don't need all that, and they don't use it, but I actually use it. So the range of the instrument and the versatility I dug about it. It really could serve a role as a bass where you're just playing bass in a band, and it could also, you could turn around and do a lot of the,
So you've been playing them ever since then?
I have.
Or
I do have a Fender, just to note, I do have a Fender Jazz, but yeah, I have a 5-string one of these too.
Okay, I don't quite know how to ask this, but why, man? Why you playing all that stuff, man, on the bass? What made you?
I ask myself that question every day. Why am I working so hard, man? All I got to do is play one note.
Right, exactly. it's like what?
I can get a gig, play one note. Why do I want to play?
And I asked this to a lot of bases. What made you step up your game and just say, I gotta, and then actually follow through with it? As far as
that's a great question.
As far as playing all of that goodness and stuff like that, just Why, like Mike Manring, he just took the bass
yeah,
to
that guy's
the
incredible.
to another whole galaxy by playing it out of tune,
Yeah,
different alternate tunings and six basses at the same time
Yeah.
with people holding them. But,
That's like a circus act. He really is, man.
yeah,
He's amazing.
what made you decide to go there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Step out. What made you decide I'm stepping outside of the box and I want to step my game up and get a certain place with the bass? Why'd you do it?
Well, I mean, I did it, and it's an excellent question, man. And and I've just been doing it more in the last few years. I did it because the cats that I really hung on my wall pictures of when I was a kid did it, and I got to a point where I'm a working musician and I had to pay the rent, and I was like, man, that's somebody famous does that. I don't do that. I gotta play, that's how you make a living, man.
Uh-huh.
And I did. But it's vision. It's whatever you have. If that's what you do and you do well and you love it, that's fine. But my vision was similar to the cats that I idolized, the Stanleys and the Jocko or the Eddie Van Halens. I'm not saying that I play like that. I'm just saying that my vision
was to go outside the normal box.
And I was one day just going, well, I don't know, when am I going to start doing that? I mean, I would tell people, well, yeah, I'm doing this gig, but I really play like this and I really play like that. And after a while, I was thinking, you know what? I'm not really playing like that at all. I'm playing like this unless I do it. So but the inspiration to do that came from the cats that I idolized, that I looked up to, and I just heard music in a similar way. I heard the bass in a similar way. When I heard Stanley or I don't know how many cats have listened to Billy Sheehan at all. Rock.
Yeah.
And when I heard Billy, I was like, oh my God, he's me. That's what I want to do.
Exactly.
So, but I wanted to do that meet Stanley,
Okay.
because it was just a combination of me just stepping up to the plate and something that I believed in, and then just also hearing it. When you're younger, you don't really think you just like what you like, So I heard that, and that kind of stood out more than the average bass lines, So that's kind of I heard the bass in the similar way. I liked the way the bass sounded when it was played, like in a soloistic way with effects and all that. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds
Okay.
natural to me.
Okay. Speaking of effects, you actually brought a box with you, and you brought some backing tracks with you as well. Can we hear a little something else in a little while? I got some more questions for you, but can we hear
Sure.
something else?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I had a quick question for him too, if I can get one in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You use a Fender and you use the Warwick. Do you find it challenging or difficult to handle different necks?
Yeah. Well, I play totally different if I play on a Fender.
Okay.
I play bass.
Okay.
I can't do a lot of what the output. It's a Fender. Just to me, isn't as responsive as this bass is. That all these those kind of things are a little more difficult. But then the player I mentioned earlier, Billy Sheehan, he played a Fender and got all those sounds. So I just naturally gravitated to this kind of instrument. I thought it kind of spoke more, was more present for the techniques that I was using on it. But the Fender, I mean, definitely has a distinct sound. But when I pick that up, I tend to play more traditionally.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just me, 'cause
Yeah, I agree with you on that because
do you find the
mean,
same thing?
the same thing. Like when I moved out to Pennsylvania, I met T.M. Stevens,
Sure.
and he's a Warwick guy.
Yep.
And when I played the Warwick, I was like, wow, what is? I mean,
it's gonna make you play different, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It really does. It's got a heavier sound to it, and it's like bright and it's clear.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's like when you play a Fender, you tend to sit in that mode and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do. But when you get a hold of a Warwick, man, it's like a whole nother monster. But at the same time, I got it with the Spectres.
Oh, they're really good basses.
Oh my
too.
God, I love Spectres.
Those are great basses. Yeah, those
Okay.
are really
Well,
made.
let me ask you this question again. Because I'm nosy, man. I'll get all up in your business. I ain't got no problem.
It's all right. It's like some of my rock songs.
Hey, you, and I don't mind if you say no comment or you know what I'm saying.
My lawyer said no.
I am not afraid.
I take the fifth or whatever.
I am not afraid of the word no. If you say no, I just ask Parker. You know, I don't care. But my question is this.
Sorry, it came out.
When all of these, like the tapping and the bends and the harmonics and combine, how long did it take for you to put that up under your fingers and be proud of it? You know, I know before you started doing it, you had to practice it first, right?
Yeah.
Or are
still
like you a
practicing
savant?
it, man.
You still practice?
Oh yeah.
So how did that? I mean, how long did it take for you to get that up under your fingers to where you were like, I got it. I'm taking it on the road now. I'm gonna go let Big Ive and them hear it. How long? How long?
Today. And I still didn't do it right. You don't know, but I screwed up some of that. I just made something up.
Sounds great, man.
No.
What else? I mean,
Well, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, I practiced ridiculous amount of hours on the techniques, but I kind of started doing it right away, and probably sounded terrible doing it to other cats, but I did it anyhow. But I don't know, maybe in the last 5-6 years, I felt like I've really kind of, not just the techniques, but have kind of really solidified like control of my sound and stuff on stage, doing this kind of a thing. Playing regular bass, I've had that, I feel, for years, but you know, the effects and getting the tones and being able, because you can do a lot of stuff in your bedroom and it sounds great, and then you get on a gig and it's not
And that little pinky gets
Right?
off to the side.
yeah, and
It's like, what did I just do?
and it just don't sound the same, and you're like, man, why did it sound so good before? I swear it, you know.
You were wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Because
See,
you-
you said
Yeah, it could be the shirt, it could be like, you know, it's 1 degree off in the room, you know, it's like, I don't know, but I think the key is just kind of plowing through it, you know, like, you know, you get to a point, I mean, you see players like Vic Wooten or Marcus or Stan Webb, I mean, these guys, you know, they make a mistake and it's still whatever, they're so incredible, but there is a level of where I'm sure they're even, and I know some of these cats personally, where they feel like they didn't perform well that night and they didn't execute things the way that they, you know, but to me or probably all of us, we like, what is he talking about, man? That was incredible.
Right.
But there is a level, a standard, a bar that you try to hold yourself at. So I guess my point to all this is that I've tried to kind of keep raising that each time, and then I practice. Of course, I shed it at home, but it's kind of like an athlete, and then you go out and you got to like play the game, and you got to, and you can't really replace the actual. You know, you can practice, but I feel I'm a believer that you got to go out and just go for it, and you may not, you know, it may suck, but what you do is you don't keep sucking. You go
right,
oh,
you get better.
okay, this is what I did wrong. You go back and you work, but the only way you can find out if it works is to go out and play.
Right.
Just do it.
Well, but I heard you say something, and it almost flew past me. You said you spent massive hours
I did I did.
rehearsing.
on my own.
Right. So any bass player out there that's if they want to get good,
Even at that, when I'd go out and play, it would suck sometimes. I'd be like, man, that, because also your nerves and the sound and the environment, all that plays a factor, man, when you go out and you play. And you're in your room, you're sitting down. That's another thing, standing up. It's easier for me to play sitting down. But I play rock gigs, you can't sit down, man. You got to stand up. You got to move around, you know. So it's like, oh, shit, I can't pull that off now.
yeah. So
know?
check this out. Practice is it important if you want to get good? Is it really?
Oh, it's essential. I think you have to. I mean, I know there's some players that say they don't practice, but I had to. And I still have to every day. Try to. I mean, you know, because I think, you
What
know.
do you practice? Can I ask you that? What do you practice? Do you scales, or do you read books, or anything like
I've
that?
done all kind. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I'm real lazy now with reading. I mean, I read. You know, reading is.
Hello.
You know, reading's like humbling. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, man, I can play like everything I did, and then somebody puts a chart in front, and it's like, oh, all right, I gotta like. I read okay. I mean, I've done Broadway shows and did orchestra stuff, but
When you start to read, do you have to break it up?
Yeah,
Because I
sometimes
am like, the more I get into it deeper, it's like
I got
serious. You know, you just got to break it up into sections before you do the whole piece.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got to do that. I'll take
I think
sections at a
everybody does
time.
that.
Oh really? Well, see, I don't get out enough then. God, I'm sitting there like,
Yeah.
you know.
But reading something that if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. I mean, I find that but I practice what's kind of relevant to what I'm doing at the time. Like I've been playing these rock gigs, so I practice playing hard and standing up, and playing like eighth notes or. Just stuff like that, or not doesn't have to be a major scale, but I'm just saying just to work, and really practice at the intensity level that I would play at. Not for a total long period of time, but I'll work on that, and then like with this gig I'm doing now, I get a solo spot, so I'm gonna work on. Yeah,
cool.
Gary gives me a solo spot, so. It's on this tune, Lowrider. So I'll set a loop of that, and I'll click it at the tempo and play, and then I'll just work on stuff over that for a while.
Okay, well, who do you play with?
Well, right now I'm playing with a guitar player. He's a rock guitar player named Gary Hoey, who has been on the scene for quite a while. Really great player, and I've been working with him now for about 7 months, and it's kind of blues, a combination of blues, hard rock, and some of it's vocal and some of it are just instrumentals. And I'm always working freelancing in New York City. I've played on some Broadway shows, Grease, Jersey Boys, a show called Memphis, another rock show called Rock of Ages. I've subbed on some of those shows. I've been the full-time bass player on a few different, I'm playing around the city with my own thing, Bass in Your Face, and that's just me and a drummer and a loop pedal, and we go out and play my tunes or my versions of other tunes. I do like some instrumental versions of some.
Kind of like Doug Johns, right?
Similar, yeah, a little more rock. Than Doug Johns, but very similar to what he does, yeah.
Okay, who are some of the other people that you play with in your, I'm just trying to get a body of work here that you did. Give me some of the players, your discography,
Selected discography.
Yeah, the albums.
I was supposed to dig that when you read it in a magazine, selected discography, and the guy would have like 200, and you're like, that was a selection? You mean he's even got more people he played with?
Yeah. So yeah, give me a
Mine's
list.
like, I'll give you my whole discography.
Give me
We'll
a.
start playing Living Color in here now. We'll start having stuff. This will be a whole new layout.
Yeah, I love that.
Give me a list, man. Wait, hold up. Let me get give me a list. Give me who you played with in some of your records, man. Your wax and CDs and stuff.
I did like most of it was rock stuff. Like when I lived out in California. I'll start even before. I played on I did a track on with a group called Expose. There was a 3-female vocal group out of Miami. I actually recorded on one track of a singer when she was first coming out by the name of Mariah Carey.
Awesome.
That's a little bit hard.
You may have heard of it.
Yeah.
It was like a B version, like a alternate, like a house mix version of one of her songs. And then I worked with rock guitar players, Rick Derringer and Pat Travers, and
Just to name a few.
I did a couple CDs.
No, keep
with
going.
them.
Help me out.
I did like some compilation CDs with those same guys and some other guitar players. A guy compilation disc which featured. It was a tribute CD to Albert King, so it was like all Albert King's blues tunes, but guested were featured guest performances by these cats: Pat Travers, this other guy John Butcher, Leslie West, Rick Derringer. I forget some of the
That's
other
big
names.
time stuff
But
there.
they were, you know, primarily cats from the '70s that were rock blues players, and then I did live work with some cats from the band Journey. I played with the guitar player Neil Schoen and the drummer Steve Smith. I also played with Narda Michael Walden, who some cats may know.
Awesome
He is-
drummer.
He's phenomenal. He's one of my favorite drummers that I've ever played with. I did some just live gigs with him, and on the jazz side, I got to play with a legend of in the jazz scene, Dr. Lonnie Smith. I played with him down in
Lonnie Liston?
No, Dr. Lonnie Smith.
Oh, okay. Dr. Lonnie Smith.
Yeah, Oregon. But when I was playing with him, he was playing piano because I was playing obviously bass. And that was just a local gig that I was playing down in Fort Lauderdale when I was going to music school down there. I was afforded the opportunity to play with him for a year and a half, almost every weekend.
Wow.
So that was, you know, he's
That's
a legend.
a wonderful body of work.
He's a
And,
legend.
and if we wanted to, I mean, if we really wanted to dig into your body of work, where could we go to just, you know, just check you out some more? Because I like to know more. I like to hear more also.
Well, obviously, like iTunes, you know, the label that I worked primarily for was called Blues Bureau Records. So if you go and Google Blues Bureau Records, probably a whole list of the CDs will come up. And then my CD is called Let's Hear It, and that's just Brad Russell. And that
What label?
That's not, it was on a label called Digital Nations, but it's not. The label kind of closed up shop. So this label was run by Steve Vai, who's a pretty famous rock guitar player, and he closed up shop on that. So I'm back to putting it out myself right now on iTunes.
Yeah, Independent Tunes.
Yeah, but my CD, I mean, a lot of people are doing that. I mean, my CD features obviously myself, but I was fortunate to be able to get another Detroiter. He's been out of this area for many years, but a drummer by the name of Greg Bissonette played on it, and I got a guest solo by Joe Satriani, who's a very famous rock guitar player, and he did one
He's
guest.
playing with the Superman.
I was just
Steve
lucky,
Vai,
man.
Satriani? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
It's
Those
Greg.
guys are Greg's from Warren, Michigan.
Is he the one that did them sets with DVDs with Victor and Steve Bailey?
Yeah,
I didn't know he was a Detroit drummer.
yeah, he's
That's
originally
awesome.
from Warren, Michigan. Yeah.
And that's the guy you did your stuff
He
with?
played drums on my track. He's out the drum tracks you just heard earlier. Me,
We haven't heard anything yet.
okay.
We haven't heard any drum tracks yet, but will you play something for us?
Sure.
That was wonderful, man, and we got some guys. We got some guys that want to ask you some questions. I think I'm not sure. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
You sound pretty calm. You didn't sound that calm last time you tried to ask that question.
They pulled some tricks out the hat. That's just like, you know, it's just like, how you do that?
So what's your question, Mike?
Can you do that roll off the A again?
Wow! You can't do it slow. Arpeggio. So
you can get in the camera if you want, Mike. Go ahead, look at it.
Just stand right in front of it.
Can't do it.
Okay, so
Can't do it, man. It's like I barely can pull it off.
If we were to analyze what you just did, that little piece, what would it be called? Flamingo, arpeggio, hammer, slap.
Oh, stupid, crazy. Why am I trying to play this?
Yeah, if it was to be analyzed.
Like a sweep. It's called a sweep technique. You know, like raking or sweep combined with tapping. So I'm sweeping the arpeggio, raking with my thumb, and then tapping that top note. Right? And then instead of going down, I just go over to tap that note and pull off to the next arpeggio. Now, originally I did it on on my CD. I did it on with tenor bass tuning, which Stanley used to do and Victor does now a lot, where it's C, G, D, A.
Yeah.
So I started that pattern way down here, and I had tons of fingerboard. But when I do it on this, I'm like, uh-oh. I got it. So that last arpeggio, I got to drop down an octave. It's a bitch, man, because it's like, where is it? Boom, way down here. So it's like, and then I got to drop down to that B. I think it actually sounds cooler now.
It's
That last one
nasty,
down
man.
low, it kind
No, I
of has
love
a
it.
contrast to it. So,
Oh.
but the main thing is just getting your bass has got to be set up for stuff like that too. I was gonna say because cats will go home and they'll try that in their actions like this. Will be like, man, I can't get.
Won't touch the fingerboard.
Yeah, but that's good finger strength. High action bass guitars is great to learn.
Then there's tendonitis. You don't want to do
How about the
this.
Sailor Man
Because
hands?
I've gotten like some like on my wrists and stuff from do, but my action's pretty low. I've seen cats with lower, but to do that kind of stuff, man, it's got to be pretty low. But also, I got tons of distortion on sustain, so that
That actually helps the
Yeah,
note
totally.
generator.
All day. We can go eat, come back, still rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a question too.
Go get a six-pack. Come
You know, I am.
He answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for this fine bassist? Anybody?
So I just wanted to make a comment. I realized that you were in town a couple nights ago at Freedom Hill with Gary Hoey, and I know what kind of schedule that you had. I just wanted to say thank you, man, for taking the time out
Oh
to
man,
come out here.
Thank you.
And
No,
I mean, because you got another thing you got to do tomorrow. And this
Yeah.
is a holiday weekend, people with their families. I just wanted to let you know, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, no,
You
it's
come
my
out here and
pleasure,
do this
man.
for us, man.
Same here. I appreciate you guys showing up, and
I actually have another question for you. When Mike just asked you to show us how you did that and everything, do you actually teach? Do you
Yeah.
teach people how to play bass, or what
Oh,
do you
yeah.
teach?
I haven't been lately, but I would love to get more students. Yeah, I was teaching when I was going to college. I was a grad assistant teacher at the school, so I was teaching college level students on upright and electric. But I enjoy teaching, and I would like to get into it some more. I mean, I'll teach whatever, but most of the cats, just teaching how to play bass, fundamental stuff, But yeah, I like teaching. I started doing some instructional video stuff for some of these online magazines. Like I have that roll you call it, or sweep, or whatever you want to call it. I have that on lesson in Bass Musician magazine, which is online. Bass Musician magazine. They posted 3 or 4 of my videos of those kind of things.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
The sweep technique, because I don't see a lot of that on YouTube, like a lot of those video lessons of that. So I was breaking that down. And
I ain't never seen it on bass at all.
Yeah, those cats do it, but I think I'm doing a little different, just out of necessity. I was like, how am I going to play this note after I play this note? So I was just like, oh, okay, well, but yeah, I broke it down on a video on YouTube.
Okay, well, if we wanted to see some of your stuff on YouTube or any other social media, how could we get a hold of you? And I'm gonna start following you, man. Where can I find you?
BradRussellBass.com. That's my website. And if you just go to YouTube and you put in Brad Russell, bass. I don't even know if you got to put the comma in there. A bunch of videos will come up of stuff that I've done on my own and other gigs and stuff like that I played on. So those are the 2 main places, I guess.
Okay, that's awesome. You got a Facebook?
Yep, Bass in Your Face. Brad Russell, Bass in Your Face. Bass in Yo, YL.
Right.
It doesn't sound as cool when you have to explain it.
I took all the coolness out of it. But I could just see people like typing in bass in your face with a Y-E-R.
Right. No, I'm gonna put a caption.
They'll be like,
Caption.
this guy's not in there.
Before you go, man, anybody else have any questions for him before we let this man go? Because me, I ain't trying to keep you. I know you got a rehearsal tonight. I know you got a clinic tomorrow. I know you busy, man. I ain't trying to keep you. Anybody else got any questions for this fine
I just want to
bassist?
say thank you, man, for coming through.
Yeah,
man.
really.
We appreciate
Yeah,
you
really.
coming through.
Oh, no, it's the first of hopefully many more.
Yeah.
I'm just another cat. Bass from Detroit.
Well, if you
Seriously,
if,
I
don't know about
dig
that.
the reception, you know.
if I hear one more song, I'ma quit playing. So I don't know, man.
Well, you can leave the room then.
Okay, so you gonna play us something else, man?
Well, I just want to play a little of a Stanley tune that I did with clean bass, just to let you know I can, because some cats go, oh man, you got all of that effect on your bass, don't you play regular?
Oh yeah, like
Okay, well, before you play us out, because I ain't want to keep you, before you play us out, is there anything that you would like to say before you play us out, Brad? You have any questions for yourself?
Oh, I got lots of questions for myself, but that's for another day. No, I'm glad to be here. I'm proud to be from Detroit, and like I said before, I'm just glad the internet has allowed me to get in touch, and be able to get my music out to the people back here, because wherever I go, I'm always say I'm from Detroit, and everybody gives you respect as soon as you say that. But it's nice to be able to come back and play, for people that appreciate it. So that's it, basically.
Yeah, and that's not a bad.
I'm appreciative of that because, it's a special, music that came out of this town. I think everybody that comes out of here, regardless of the style, I think you got to be from here to recognize that. But there's a lot of commitment behind the music that comes out of this place, regardless of what type of music it is. So that's
we got a regional sound.
Yeah,
We have a regional sound.
And I just want to let everybody else here know I've been to California, I lived in Miami, and I live in New York now, and it's respected by everybody.
And that ain't a bad shirt you got on there either.
I like this shirt. Thanks, Craig. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank our special Detroit bass player in the house, and now he's going to play us out. None other than Mr. Brad Russell.
Yeah, thank you.
Play us out, bro. Come on, give us something.
Thanks for coming, man.
technical difficulties. That's an old Stanley Clark tune called Hello Jeff.
Nice.